A recent revelation has shaken both the scientific and archaeological communities, a discovery so monumental that it could rewrite everything we understand about ancient history. This breakthrough has captured global attention, stunning experts and laypeople alike. Buried beneath the sands of Egypt may be the key to one of the greatest mysteries of all time, the final resting place of Cleopatra, the most iconic queen in history. Hidden beneath ancient ruins, a temple long speculated to exist has finally come to light. For decades, archaeologists searched Egypt's deserts for a lost chamber mentioned in ancient texts, believed to be tied to Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of Egypt. Yet no conclusive evidence had emerged until Dr. Kathleen Martinez, a Dominican archaeologist devoted to Cleopatra's legacy, led a team to the site of Taposiris Magna. What began as a standard ground-penetrating radar scan beneath the temple ruins turned into a groundbreaking find. Beneath layers of sediment and decaying stone, a tunnel over 4,000 feet in length and buried 43 feet deep was discovered, expertly engineered and far more advanced than expected for its time. As excavations progressed, researchers uncovered fragments of pottery, ritual offerings, and coins imprinted with Cleopatra's image. Even more intriguing was the complete lack of disturbance, no signs of looting, no modern footprints, and no prior excavation. The site had been untouched for thousands of years. The biggest surprise came with the discovery of two previously unknown chambers, both sealed and submerged under groundwater. Early scans revealed one of them had an architectural design strikingly similar to tombs in the Valley of the Kings. The possibility that this temple holds Cleopatra's tomb suddenly seemed very real. Initially, Taposiris Magna may not have seemed like a logical place to search for Cleopatra's burial site. Historical accounts say she died in Alexandria, and scholars long believed her tomb would be near the royal district, now lost to the sea. However, Dr. Martinez suggests the location's religious significance might be the key. The temple was once dedicated to Osiris, god of the underworld. Cleopatra, who embraced her divine image, may have chosen this place to symbolically join Osiris in death, echoing the mythology of Isis, his consort. Adding further weight to the theory are hieroglyphics and Greco-Egyptian carvings discovered at the site. One damaged but readable frieze shows a woman wearing the uraeus cobra and the vulture crown, symbols reserved for queens. Her arm reaches toward a depiction of the underworld, guarded by Anubis and Thoth. Whether this is a symbolic scene or a portrait of Cleopatra entering the afterlife is now hotly debated. The temple's placement between Alexandria and the Nile Delta, a region prone to flooding and tectonic shifts, may have been chosen intentionally to shield the queen's tomb from future desecration, especially by the Romans. Ancient local legends have also resurfaced. For generations, villagers spoke of a queen who sleeps in stone, guarded by serpents and water. Once dismissed as folklore, the tale is now being reconsidered in light of the new findings. Within the tunnel and nearby chamber, archaeologists unearthed unusual artifacts beyond the expected pottery and coins. Among them were sealed alabaster jars, dating to the 1st century BCE, Cleopatra's time. Decorated with Greco-Egyptian symbols, they resembled containers used in secret cults devoted to Isis, suggesting Cleopatra may have been buried with rites that merged Egyptian beliefs and Hellenistic rituals. A striking obsidian amulet was also recovered, depicting a scorpion wrapped around a scroll, an emblem of Selkut, the protective goddess of the dead. The recurring image of Selkut, always facing east, hints at a possible astronomical alignment, perhaps connected to Sirius, the star of rebirth in ancient Egyptian belief. Then came the most astonishing find, a piece of parchment sealed inside a jar, preserved by an air pocket. Written in ancient Greek, the text refers to a mysterious woman called She Who Reigns Twice, believed by some to be Cleopatra. It hints that she may have planned her own burial, assisted by Isis priests, in a sanctified twin chamber. If true, this would challenge traditional beliefs, suggesting her death and burial were not sudden, but part of a planned, possibly sacred, ritual meant to shield her essence from Roman hands. The mystery now centers around a massive limestone door sealed beneath 30 feet of water, blocking access to what appears to be a tomb. Located at the tunnel's end, this sealed portal leads to a chamber that has likely remained untouched for over 2,000 years. This type of structure has never been found inside a Greco-Egyptian temple, suggesting it was created in secret, perhaps after Cleopatra's death. Despite using advanced water pumps and ground freezing technology, progress has been slow. The water is highly corrosive, and one misstep could cause the chamber to collapse. However, scans of the room have revealed tantalizing clues: a void shaped like a sarcophagus, a raised platform, and two statues believed to represent Isis and Osiris. The configuration matches the burial arrangements used for deified royalty. If Cleopatra is indeed sealed behind that door, it would be the greatest archaeological discovery since the tomb of Tutankhamun. But caution is crucial. Some legends say that temples of Isis were protected not by traps, but by architectural tricks, unstable stones, false floors, and confusing passageways. A single mistake could destroy everything the team has uncovered. There is increasing concern over the possibility of international interference. Insiders suggest that Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities might soon suspend the excavation, worried about political consequences if Cleopatra's remains are found intact behind the sealed door. Such a discovery could spark renewed debates over Egyptian sovereignty, Western imperialism, and the real identity of one of the most mythologized women in history. As divers and engineers prepare for another phase of excavation next month, global anticipation builds. Whatever lies behind that stone door may not only reshape history, it could redefine everything we thought we knew about Cleopatra's final moments. As the excavation progressed, scholars began noticing a pattern, not just in the physical artifacts or architectural design but in symbolic elements. Nearly every item unearthed at the tunnel site shared a strong connection to Isis, the Egyptian goddess of magic, motherhood, and resurrection. However, this wasn't the standard form of devotion seen in other tombs. The rituals appeared to be secretive, initiatory, and ceremonial. Cleopatra had reportedly transformed the temple of Taposiris Magna to serve the Isis cult, projecting herself not just as a supporter but as the goddess incarnate. Archaeologists now believe this wasn't merely political theater. The evidence suggests Cleopatra may have intentionally connected her journey to the afterlife with the mythology of Isis, following divine rites typically reserved for deities. Among the discoveries was a bronze ceremonial headdress, adorned with serpentine designs and gold leaf, depicting Isis nursing Horus. Experts believe it could have been used in a ritual to deify Cleopatra posthumously, implying her burial was a sacred transformation, not just a royal farewell. Supporting this theory was the discovery of a hidden chamber beyond the main tunnel, accessible only by a shaft buried in mud. Inside was a weathered mural showing a woman in white robes merging with golden light before a seated Isis. Faded inscriptions nearby read, "As she became her, flesh of the Nile, voice of the stars." The message is striking: Cleopatra may have been interred not merely as a queen, but as a divine figure, intentionally concealed to protect her sanctity. But why was she hidden so carefully? Why was her story buried in secrecy and salt? Dr. Mercer Alam, an Egyptologist on the team, suggests Cleopatra's death may have been more than political, it could have been prophetic. Like Isis, Cleopatra may have seen death as a transformation, one that required spiritual shielding from Roman desecration. She didn't want to be remembered, Dr. Alam explained in a recent press briefing. She wanted to be found, at the right time, by the right eyes. Each new discovery, however, brings heightened controversy. News of the sealed chamber and rumors that Cleopatra's remains might lie within have sparked a global stir, not only among scholars but also governments, religious institutions, and conspiracy theorists. Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities initially hailed the find, but their stance is reportedly shifting. Sources indicate rising tensions between the Egyptian authorities, foreign archaeologists, and the Coptic Orthodox Church, which is sensitive to excavations that might contradict biblical or early Christian history. Unearthing a woman once worshipped as a god, an anonymous Vatican-affiliated scholar told La Repubblica, raises questions the Church would rather avoid. Conservative religious groups worldwide echo that concern, fearing the redivinization of Cleopatra could create both spiritual and political upheaval. The geopolitical stakes are high too. France and Italy, home to significant Cleopatra-era artifacts, are said to be lobbying for access or custody should her remains or relics be uncovered. Leaked communications show the U.S. State Department is closely watching developments, wary of potential unrest if the tomb sparks debates on cultural repatriation or historical revision. The hashtag Cleopatra curse is trending online, with warnings that disturbing the tomb could invite catastrophe. First COVID, now this, one user wrote. Leave the dead alone. We were never meant to find her. At the heart of this storm is Dr. Kathleen Martinez, the archaeologist who has dedicated nearly 20 years to finding Cleopatra's burial site. Once admired as a pioneer, she now receives both acclaim and threats. Egyptian tabloids have labeled her the foreign woman awakening forbidden secrets. But Martinez remains resolute. The world fears powerful women, even after death, she said in an interview. But Cleopatra wanted to be remembered when the world was ready. I believe that time is now. In January, just before excavation paused due to seasonal flooding, the team used ground-penetrating radar, GPR, to scan below the tunnel complex. The early scans showed little, just natural rock voids and shallow spaces, until something extraordinary appeared on screen, a perfectly rectangular chamber, buried 60 feet under limestone, precisely aligned beneath the former inner sanctum of Taposiris Magna. Dr. Alain Rousseau, a French geophysicist on the team, confirmed the find was artificial. This chamber was built deliberately and hasn't been disturbed in 2 millennia. Measurements indicate it spans over 30 meters and is sealed by a dual-locking mechanism, one Egyptian in style, the other Hellenistic. It's a fusion of 2 cultures, much like Cleopatra herself. What stunned the team most wasn't the construction but what GPR imaging hinted at inside. Faint metallic reflections suggest the presence of gold or unknown alloys from Cleopatra's era. One corner registers denser organic material, possibly a mummified body entombed in stone or lead. But what raised the most speculation was the figure's posture, arranged in a lotus formation, a burial style reserved for divine beings. Attached to the chamber is a small, easily missed sub-room. GPR scans reveal a statue or object standing upright, producing unusually strong echoes, stronger than granite. Some on the team believe it might be a preserved idol of Isis, or Cleopatra herself. And now a question looms, one few dare to voice, what if she is really in there? If this chamber holds Cleopatra's body, history may be rewritten. The academic world and the global public alike are bracing for the implications. Cleopatra's legacy has long been split between Rome's portrayal of her as a temptress and modern efforts to recast her as a savvy political figure. But this too might reveal she was something even more profound, a spiritual visionary, a reformer of faith, and possibly the last ruler who truly believed she was divine. If so, museums worldwide may need to reconsider thousands of artifacts, and humanity may need to revisit everything it thought it knew about one of history's most enigmatic figures. The Vatican may soon be compelled to confront ancient practices of god worship that have been hidden for millennia. Feminist scholars view this as an opportunity to reclaim the long-suppressed narrative of female divinity, while political analysts warn that a resurgence of pharaonic pride could potentially disrupt modern Egypt's identity. Additionally, there's the possibility that Cleopatra may not have been alone. Radar scans of a subchamber indicate a second, sarcophagus-shaped void near the presumed body. Scholars are now speculating, something that was once unthinkable, could Mark Antony also be buried there? If this proves true, it would reveal that their final act of love, death, and burial together was kept a secret for centuries, forever intertwining their legacies beneath the land they ruled and the gods they worshipped. UNESCO has called for an international archaeological intervention, urging Egypt to let a global consortium manage the tomb's opening. However, others believe the decision should remain with Egypt, as a final tribute to a queen who sacrificed for her country. Amid this tension, one fact remains, the tomb has not been opened. Martinez, in a recent statement, remarked, "The Earth has waited 2,000 years. We can wait 2 weeks more." Egypt's gamble to open or not to open. In Cairo's Ministry of Antiquities, the debate extends beyond archaeologists, involving political figures, religious leaders, and security officials. The discovery of Cleopatra's potential tomb has escalated into a matter of national importance and global significance. Egyptian President Mahmoud al-Gandhi, once a supporter of heritage tourism, has become notably silent. Inside the ministry, tensions are rising between those eager to open the tomb immediately and those concerned about the spiritual and social consequences. A well-known cleric from Al-Azhar University warned in a televised sermon, "If this tomb is real, we are standing at the threshold of forgotten gods." The veil between ancient power and modern faith must not be carelessly lifted. Meanwhile, rumors swirl about foreign governments offering support and even discreet military backing for Egypt to delay excavation until a neutral archaeological body is formed. A leaked memo from France's Ministry of Culture discussed an unprecedented opportunity to restore global confidence in Egypt's ancient heritage, if handled with care and patience. Adding to the complexity, extremist groups have reacted strongly, viewing the potential revival of ancient Egyptian identity as blasphemous. Security around Taposiris Magna has intensified, with Egypt's intelligence forces installing surveillance drones at the site. The public is becoming increasingly impatient. Across the Arab world, social media is buzzing with hashtags like #OpenCleopatra and #ReturnTheQueen. Protests have erupted in Alexandria, with demonstrators chanting, "She ruled in life, let her speak in death." Though the tomb remains sealed, external pressure is mounting. The excavation of what could be Cleopatra's tomb is no mere archaeological event, it's a cultural reckoning. For centuries, Cleopatra's image has been distorted through Roman propaganda, Elizabethan drama, and Hollywood depictions. From Shakespeare's tragic queen to Elizabeth Taylor's famous portrayal, the true Cleopatra has been obscured by layers of exoticism and misinformation. But if her own voice could finally be heard, whether on walls, in scrolls, or buried with her remains, what new truths might emerge? If the tomb is confirmed, it would offer the first opportunity to examine Cleopatra's burial choices, her inscriptions, her iconography, and her rites. This would allow historians to uncover her personal worldview, not just the narrative constructed by her enemies. This is especially significant as Egypt is asserting its sovereignty over its ancient past. The country has launched campaigns to repatriate looted artifacts and reshape its history through an indigenous, rather than colonial, perspective. Cleopatra, long viewed through a Greco-Roman lens, could become a symbol of cultural revival, demonstrating that Egypt's most significant icons are not remnants of conquest but creators of civilization. Another key aspect of this discovery is the gendered legacy of Cleopatra. As a woman who ruled, negotiated with emperors, studied philosophy, commanded armies, and led Egypt in its final days of independence, her tomb could transform how powerful women in history are remembered. Dr. Noura al-Matbuli, a political anthropologist at the University of Cairo, succinctly put it, "If Cleopatra's tomb is found, it will not just rewrite history books. It will reshape the narrative of women in power, how they rule, how they are remembered, and how they resist." This is more than an excavation, it's a battle for legacy. Cleopatra may yet overcome the erasure that Rome sought to impose. The final descent is imminent. Beneath the tightly guarded fences and controlled media updates, something monumental stirs within the sands and stones of Taposiris Magna. Leaked images from within the tunnel, never officially released but circulating in select academic and journalistic circles, suggest that the team has reached an antechamber sealed behind a carved limestone wall. Some archaeologists believe the sealed area bears signs of ritual blocking, a technique used in royal tombs to deter grave robbers. However, the challenges ahead are considerable. The chamber is partially submerged, and the limestone walls are sensitive to changes in temperature and pressure. To access it, the team must carefully drain the surrounding area. A single mistake could destroy centuries-old inscriptions or remains. Even more mysterious are inscribed fragments reportedly found in debris near the chamber's entrance. Unverified reports suggest that some of these fragments contain hieroglyphs not previously catalogued, hinting at a secret cult lineage or a deliberately encrypted text, possibly even a personal directive from Cleopatra herself. The speculation doesn't end there. Whispers from within Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities suggest that international forensic teams, specialists in ancient DNA, mitochondrial analysis, and sarcophagus preservation, are being quietly brought in. The possibility of extracting Cleopatra's genetic profile could settle the long-debated question of her ethnicity, a topic that has been politicized and misrepresented for centuries. Meanwhile, security around the site has increased dramatically. Drones are now prohibited, and communication with the site is being carefully filtered. Most significantly, Martinez and her team have gone silent. Sources close to the project claim that this silence is intentional. If the sealed chamber does indeed contain what many suspect, jewel sarcophagi, elaborate funerary art, and personal artifacts, the team is preparing for an archaeological reveal of unparalleled significance. As Egypt braces for a potential global media event, the world holds its breath. What lies behind the sealed stone? A decoy chamber? A looted tomb? Or the intact burial place of Cleopatra II, Egypt's last pharaoh, awaiting to speak from beyond death? The final descent is drawing near. And with it, the truth. What an exciting announcement! If the tomb were opened, what would it mean for you? Do you think it should be opened, and why?